Deeper Blue DEMA 2012. We're here with Bob Croft, the superstar of freediving, one of the founding father of freediving, and he's here to tell us about his latest book. So Bob, what can you tell you know, yesterday we talked and you were telling us, you know, you weren't really ready to go and tell all your story quite yet, and somebody convinced you to write it and come up with this incredible book. Tell us about the story, how you got to write this book.
How this happened, yeah. This started really last year at this time at the DEMA Show. A gentleman approached me, he come up and he watched my video. He bought one, actually a DVD, and he left. Next day he came back and we chatted some more, and he says, you know, you should write your life story. And I said, yeah, right, I should write my life story. You know, first off, I'm not a writer. So I kind of poo-pooed it. I told him, I said, you know, other people have suggested I should write my story, but I'm just not a writer. He says, no. He says, you should write your story. I said, if I did, who the heck would publish it? He says, I would publish it. I said, you are a publisher? He said, oh yeah. He says, I'll publish your story. Well, I was kind of dumbfounded and also not really sure this was a way I should go. He says, go back home, write 2 or 3 chapters, send them to me. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I went home after the DEMA Show. I wrote 3 chapters, sent them off to this guy, the publisher. Maurizio is his name, first name. The next day I got an email from him. He said, I like your style, keep writing. And so I kept writing. And 6 months later, I had my story in my computer using one finger, kind of like this, hunt and peck, because I'm not a typist. And he has the whole thing. We've gone through the edit process. It is in the layout stage right now. Pictures have been selected, captions have been written. I'm hoping that it'll be available this January or February. Time will tell. And some of the ironic things that happened, like yesterday, I was telling another guy, a friend of mine, actually he's an editor of the book, about one of my stories running the Colorado River Rapids on the bottom. And he said, is that in your book? And I said, no. He said, well, it should be in your book. Write it tonight. And I thought, oh God, yes, I'll write it tonight. Last night I went back to my hotel room. That's probably why I'm hoarse. And I wrote another chapter for the book, which will be going off to the publisher probably today or tomorrow. And it'll be the last, hopefully the last chapter in the book.
Do you have a working title for the book yet, or not?
Oh, I have a real title.
It's right there.
Yeah. Let me get a brochure.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for me to remember this. Yeah, you can look at it. This is the title. Bob Croft, Navy diver, submariner, and father of American freediving.
Now, Bob, is the book like it comes in section with like all your kind of a chronology of all?
It is a chronology of my life of adventure. I don't know a better way to put it.
So it starts with the submariner
in Groton, Connecticut. No, before that, it starts in Groton, Connecticut. I was 4 years old. The hurricane of 1938, which I'm sure none of you remember, came through, wiped out that area, wiped out the entire New England coast, in fact. And that's kind of where the story opens. I was 4 years old. I was standing in a window with my sister, 3rd floor apartment, looking out the window, watching the roof on the house next door fly away, which was, for me at 4, pretty exciting. I had no feel for what the danger was of a hurricane. Months later, still 4, Groton, Connecticut, picnicking with my parents on the Thames River. And this thing was going down the river. And I looked out and I said to my mother and father, what is that? And my father said, that's a submarine. And according to them, because I don't remember, I said, someday I'm going to be on a submarine. Now, kind of fast forward in the book. Long story short, because if I stand here long enough, I'll tell you the book, you won't have to buy it.
You just give us a teaser.
Yeah. Years later, I did go in the Navy. I did end up on submarines. I spent 10 years writing a bunch of different World War II diesel submarines. At the end of that 10 years, I went to the escape training tank, actually sub school, in Groton, Connecticut, as an instructor. And as an instructor, and because I was already a diver, a scuba diver, mind you, I was sent to the escape training tank to teach prospective submarine people how to escape from a submarine, a submarine. While there, I discovered I had a unique ability to free dive. Now, this was not something that I ever had a hint of that I could do. My first day on the job at the tank, which was all breath hold work, almost all breath hold work, I lasted a minute and a half. And my other instructors around me who had been there for a long time are going 3 and 4 minutes, and I thought, there's no way on earth I'm going to do this. I can't compete with these guys. Again, long story short, I did compete with them. And in a very short period of time, I was going over 5 minutes any time. Very shortly thereafter, I could go over 6 minutes just about any time. I could take a lung full of air, drop to the bottom of the tank, 250,000 gallons of water, 18 feet across, 118 feet deep. I would drop to the bottom, sit there for 3 or 4 minutes, and leisurely return to the surface. Curiosity took over. I'm hitting the bottom of the tank. It's cement. I can't go any farther. The only answer was obviously to find a deeper tank or go out in the ocean. So, put together an expedition, went into the ocean off Fort Lauderdale, ended up setting a world record in breath hold diving. First person in the history of the world to dive beyond 200 feet on a free dive. Set 2 more world records after that, won 3 international competitions. The years have gone by. I retired from the Navy, worked for a civilian company for many years, got pulled back into the free dive world as I think they called me a guest judge in Kona, Hawaii for an international world competition. That's just it's a phony name for sitting around and having a lot of fun, is what it is. And I loved it, needless to say. But I was back in the circuit with the free divers. Since then, I've been very involved with them, mostly as a guest judge, which I really like, because I don't have to do any work. I do a lot of public speaking. I talk to a lot of groups, dive groups, spearfishing groups, scuba people, doctors, just plain civilians. And I tell them about my story, about my world record dives. I show them the movie I had. I have a movie that was a special on CBS television. And recently, about a year ago, I was approached by a publisher and asked to write a book. The book is the title you just saw, and will be coming out hopefully this coming January or February.
Bob, also tell us you are on Facebook, so people can look you up on your page as well. So Bob Croft,
yes.
Look him up,
Yes.
and you'll be I'm pretty sure putting links to your book when it's available and where it's available.
And a lot of other people have already said they plan to.
Great.
So there'll be all kinds, I guess, publicity, advertisements, whatever you call it.
Okay.
That will be on Facebook and in diving periodicals, diving newsletters,
Great.
dive shops around the country and in Canada. So it's kind of exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
Very exciting. Thank you so much for your time, Bob, again. And that was Bob Croft from DEMA 2012.